Here's an example of a new opportunity for workers like Rodney Lee, who entered a training program to learn how to install solar panels.
Before I entered the program, I was recently laid off. I had been out of work for about 3 months, and I felt at the time I needed to get an edge and try to rejoin the workforce. As far as I look at it, I think this is the new .com, green jobs.
Now Rodney is helping train new recruits.
Like, what does that start off with, your hourly wages?
Starting rate for maybe a junior installer, maybe $15 up to $18.
Although they may not pay as much as the old manufacturing jobs, these jobs won't be outsourced. These supersized wind turbines were built in Iowa by Clipper Wind Power, a California-based company. It's often cheaper to build big turbines here than to ship them from overseas.
We have flat roofs like this from sea to shining sea. This is our Saudi Arabia right here. These are the jobs of the future. That's the genius of the green economy. It creates more opportunities than the pollution-based economy. Not less, more economic opportunity.
Clearly, renewables could bring growth and jobs to California. But both the technological and financial challenges are very real. Still, everyone agrees that none of these compare to the challenges the state will face when it comes to the most ambitious of Schwarzenegger's plans. Because here, the governor is taking on the car.
The state has to build and maintain 14,000 miles of highway for over 2 million California cars alone.
California was built on the car. Today, there are over 24 million of them on the road. It's the biggest car market in the USA, and one of its biggest selling models is the SUV. Even the governor loves them big.
As of 50 Hummers, I looked over there, I stopped my car, and I said, I got to have this car.
But Schwarzenegger needs to convince Californians to resist the lure of such gas guzzlers, because he plans to achieve the biggest part of his reduction, over 33% of his total target, by slashing car emissions. It won't be easy.
Cars are a problem. There's not many ways you can avoid that. California is very car intensive. We have people who drive from one end of the mall to the other end. It's a real issue. California has got the biggest chunk of its greenhouse gas emissions from vehicles of any state. And private car ownership is continuing to rise.
Over the years, no one has sold more of these cars than Cal Worthington.
I'm trying to find a car that my wife likes.
Cal is a true industry legend because he knows exactly what his customers want.
How about a used SUV? You know, this is the biggest car market in the world right here in California. And of course, the obvious reason is people do have to get around, and that's the only way you can get around.
The recent dramatic spikes in gas have not soured the appetite for the SUV.
We find that the used SUVs are selling better than used cars right now. It's just in our heritage, wanting a big car.
Regulators tend to think of automobiles as an appliance. That's not what they are to most people. To some people, they're the most important possession in their life.
Cars are politically sensitive territory, so here, Schwarzenegger is talking the language of caution.
We have to slowly change, because when I came over to this country 40 years ago, this state was celebrating its freeways. You have your car and you decide where to go because it is a free way. We got to re-educate people and got to slowly move them in the other direction.
But what other direction? There's one that Californians have been hesitant to explore, but the governor is an advocate.
Let's use a little bit more mass transit. Let's use high-speed rail.
But the governor knows this can't be the entire answer to the car problem. Mass transit accounts for less than 1% of his emissions cuts. Instead, his plan is to cut emissions by making people use less gas, effectively raising average fuel efficiency for new vehicles from 25 miles per gallon to 44 by 2020. That has put the focus onto one particular kind of car, the hybrid. Like a conventional car, a hybrid runs on gas. It just does more with it. Its engine not only powers the car, it charges a battery. The battery also charges when the driver hits the brake. Because it recaptures energy that regular cars throw away, a hybrid gets more miles per gallon. This hybrid, the Prius, averages 50 and emits 35% less CO2 than a similar-sized car.
The hybrid part is a no-brainer. A hybrid just makes any engine more efficient. Frankly, almost all the cars of the future, whatever fuel they use, are going to use hybrids technology because it's just more efficient.
There are more hybrids in California than any other state. To many, it is a religion, and this is their temple. The luscious garage of San Francisco.
Why don't you come in now, and I'll take a peek at it.
Carolyn Cocolet is owner and lead technician at Luscious.
Like you're anxious to find out what exactly is going wrong with your car. We wanted to use the hybrid car as the inspiration for the actual business itself. So we were trying to be, high-tech, cutting edge, and environmentally responsible.